Hello, friends, and welcome back. We've got game number 2 of Newbee versus HGT right around the corner. Newbee looking strong in game number 1. Coming up after this, it will be IG versus VG Gaming Potential. Should be a slightly more one-sided matchup. This one pretty 50-50 on the bets. We'll see if HGT can strike back and bring us into a game 3, or if we're moving into a fast 2-0 with a break between our series. I'm Zyori, solo casting today. We've got plenty of coffee to keep us awake bright and early here on Easter morning. It's about 4 a.m. on the Pacific Coast. I'm wired and ready to rock and roll. Let's look at this draft, baby, and see what these teams are doing. Woo, Newbee! First pick on the Queen of Pain. They take the sexy succubus to get things started. We've seen her quite a bit recently. Oh, yeah, for good reason. Just so damn flexible. Probably their mid laner, but could also be in the safe lane, could be in the off lane, could be on the 4. The only spot you know she's not going to be in is that sacrificial position 5, warding up support. She's destined for a slightly more prestigious career than that. And we'll see exactly what Newbee have in mind. They'll grab Rubik as their second to go up against the Shadow Fiend Earthshaker opener from HGT. They had some trouble against the Shadow Fiend last game. We all remember how game 1 started. Let's kill the Shadow Fiend or feed him a double kill and a first blood to start the match. A little bit of a backfire there. And this go-around, I think they're hoping that Moo will return the favor and give the Shadow Fiend the first blood he's looking for. I think a fair chance that that is your air hero here for HGT. Earthshaker, as we talked about in the last game, great when paired with your Shadow Fiend. He'll be parked up in the mid, and the otherwise susceptible to gank Shadow Fiend will have a friend there to keep him safe and sound, help disengage if he gets dove, throw out some fissures, and even just making his presence known is enough to kind of deter those ganks from coming on in, at least in the early few levels. We'll be able to stack up the jungle and get that Shadow friend something to retreat to. On the Dire side, that minus armor that he puts out with the presence of the Dark Lord, certainly never a bad thing. Now Storm Spirit picked up again for HGT. There's your ZSMJ hero. A lot of familiar faces here. Newbee, they'll pick up Ancient Apparition again. Worked for him well in the last game, and they're going to try it again here. Rubik, Ancient Apparition, a great pairing for the similar logic that the Venge AA are. A lot of zoning potential there, some kill potential too. You can proc Cold Feet with the Telekinesis, and pretty bursty with a little Fade Bolt there to follow up. Good support duo. Rubik also great against the Earthshaker. No doubt about that one. Without the cast point on Fissure, one of the best spells you can steal, one of the most irritating things to go against. Potential.
Reserve time.
HGT, what do they want here? They'll need their second support in the off laner. Kind of curious if they'll give June the Void again. Not banned out here. And with Queen of Pain, Ancient Apparition, that is the beginning of a team that can really fight well around the Chrono. But here we go. Lina Inverse for the Hyper Glory team. So, couple of options here. Newbee, they're going to do the same exact thing. They're not going to fix what isn't broken and basically just swap out a Queen of Pain for the Shadow Fiend. But very obvious synergy here. It'll be June Faceless Void again. He'll have a chance to redeem himself for some whiffed Chronos. Now they've got big damage to dump inside, and they'll just need that Rabbit hero for the safe lane. And Juggernaut not going to be an option this time, so we'll think a little bit about what he wants to do. So Lina for HGT, how are they going to lane this? Is she just a position 4 support? Are HGT maybe thinking about an aggro tri lane here? You could do something like a safe lane Storm, mid Shadow Fiend, and then go aggro tri. Could put the Lina mid, could still go aggro tri with a Shadow Fiend. I'm not sure exactly how they'll lane this. They will ban out the Dro Ranger. Once again, that was the 5th ban from HGT last game, I think. Not something that they wanted paired with the Void. Any kind of ranged carry works well as a smart ban here. Something like Gyrocopter, I think, could be pretty potent. Looks like Newbee are assuming this is a support Lina. They'll ban out the Axe as a potential off-laner, and it appears that they're right. Although, still a bit ambiguous. Spirit Breaker, the final choice for the Hyper Glory team. Interesting choice here. We've seen the Space Cow do a lot of work. He can make a lot of space, but so hard to play against the Rubik. Ruby Tuesday, man. He stops him dead in his tracks. The Space Cow gets in his rocket ship. He starts cruising across the map. If Rubik sees him, you've got telekinesis, the 0 cast point disable that picks that cow up and says, hey, stop moving and slow down before you hurt yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, SB.
5 seconds remaining.
Usually a hero that teams will pick into a Spirit Breaker, so you have some kind of a tool to stop his charging. Same with like an Ember Spirit. Searing Chains achieve a very similar feat, so it won't be the easiest game for the SB. And we don't know what the farm priority looks like. He could be the one on the 4 to make some space for the Lina where she finds farm priority, or it could be vice versa. Potential for an aggro try if they're really feeling confident, but I think they need the Earthshaker to stay in the mid lane to help the Shadow Fiend, and it will be just the solo off-lane SB with Lina helping out the Storm up top, stacking, pulling, utilizing the jungle, doing all that fun stuff. So final pick for Newbee here. What have they been playing recently? Lycan is on their recently most played. What else? We talked about the Jug, Morphling, good old-fashioned carry Morphling could be an option here. And there it is. There's the Morphling pickup. Okay, so all y'all NA Dota fans out there, this is not going to be your off-lane, I'm going to go strength and hit you with adaptive strike. It's lame. I'm not going to win, but I'm going to stall out the game for 45 minutes kind of Morphling. This is your good old-fashioned core Morphling, farming away in the safe lane, rushing a Lincoln's, running into that shotgun. Kind of curious, actually, what build they'll go for here. We've seen that Lincoln's first build that used to be the tried and true, the build for Morphling, kind of fallen out of popularity. We've seen some Morphlings prioritize BKB first in certain setups. This could be a game for it. We've seen some Morphlings go for even just the shotgun first item. A little bit more of a rarity. You need to be balling a little bit, and the other team also needs to have supports and cores that are very, very low on HP, and it looks like our server's having some lag issues here. Oh, great. We're getting about 1 frame every 3 seconds. I think that's some kind of a new record here. Let's try to reload in. We'll admire the facial expressions here of the sexy Wind Ranger. Love that Jug's just like, he's just giving you that thumbs up, and you can't see the facial expression under the mask. You know he's thinking, yeah, we gonna get it in later. Yeah, baby. All right, looks like just a simple reconnect is all we need. So let's introduce some rosters here. Newbee, the team up 1-0, will try things of a similar sort to Game 1. June, he'll head to the offlane here on that no-face pink motherfucker, the faceless Void. In the mid lane, who's it going to be? It'll be Moo here on the Queen of Pain. Banana, it'll be on the Rubik. Rabbit will be on the Morphlane. That puts Song Shung on the Ancient Apparition. I think I might be mispronouncing that name, but this is one of those names that about 3 or 4 different people have told me vastly different pronunciations. Doing my best. It's hard. Dire side, we've got HGT Westbrook. He'll be on the Spirit Breaker this go-round. Mid lane, Kaka will do a little bit of body blocking here to get lane control in favor of Air, who did pick up that top bounty rune. Moo getting the bottom one. He'll be on the Shadow Fiend here. That puts ZSMJ once again on the Storm Spirit. Had a good showing in the last game, and we'll see if he can do it again here. Pretty Haw. He's supporting away this game, and he's on the Lina. And rocking the Arcana. There we go. The Fiery Soul, the Slayer. Not too many Dragon Slave kills, but quite a few Light Striker Ray Stuns. That's what we look for in Alina Arcana. I like it. So just as we would suspect, there will be a Earthshaker hanging out in the mid lane. Kaka will keep Air company for now, as he needs to. And there will be 3 supports in the Radiant jungle to get things started. Ancient Apparition. Last game didn't really find much farm. Just went into the early Ghost Scepter. Didn't really find any progress towards an ag game. So didn't really need it either. Up top, whoa, June and Pretty Hard. June, please, this could be an early first blood, and it is. The fissure from the low ground, just enough to block him out. The cast point on the time walk gave him the time they needed. Now ZSMJ gets himself a first blood. What a start for the Storm Spirit. And of all the heroes to get that bonus gold, he's pretty much your ideal target. Spirit Breaker in a slightly stickier situation, but much more elusive than the Void. One of the things that makes the Spirit Breaker one of the best offlaners, right? Not one of the best, but a top-tier offlaner, is that Charge of Darkness. As long as there isn't a telekinesis, he'll be able to get away pretty much every time and just charge across the map unless he is just super low on HP. So good early start for HGT, with their Storm Spirit having a field day in the safe lane. Looks like mid lane will be a pretty even slugfest for now. Just the presence of the Earthshaker gave Air the time he needed to get some momentum in the lane. The hardest part for the Shadow Fiend is that first level, of course, before you have those Necromastery charges and that big right-click damage. He'll get level 3, get that second point in raise, and now Moo will just have to try and do his best to win this CS battle. Just have 2 points in the Shadow Strike, so we'll level up that dagger and just trying to look for ways to harass the Shadow Fiend. The extra points in the dagger is absolutely great if you want to try to find some solo kill potential. If Air extends himself too much in the lane, if anybody rotates over, he will just have to try and limp his way to safety, and easier said than done when you've got that dagger nipping at your heels. They wanted to have it go on June up in the top lane, but he will back out just in the nick of time. He's getting completely zoned out, though. This Void's still level 1. One last hit to his name, and won't expect him to find much farm this go-round. Westbrook, on the other hand, almost level 3, intercepting the pole camp, and will try to leech some XP, and also going 6-2 in terms of last hits. So even at the very least, finding a couple of creep kills, giving him a decent edge. Mid lane, an even farm fest for now, and Morphling actually behind in CS here, behind by about 6 on the Storm Spirit. He will have this wave to clear out, so a minor disparity there, but is just getting out CS'd by a little bit. We've also seen some Morphlings go for this more combative build. You can go like Yasha first item with an Aquila power treads, and you can actually fight pretty well. Rather combative. Didn't high ground Westbrook there. Thought he might. You can always just charge off. It still forces him to use that mana. Still has some mana issues as a Space Cow. This big bad bully here. Cold Feet will proc. Ooh. Telekinesis still on cooldown. There was almost kill potential there. Hit him with a Fade Bolt. Goes second point in charge. Interesting. A lot of Spirit Breakers like that 1-1-1 opener. But he will do things a little differently. Now June jumps in onto Air. But is it a mistake? Now they know he doesn't have a get-out-of-jail-free card. Invisibility rune of all runes there. That or a haste, about the only 2 things that save the Shadow Fiend. You saw Moo come in, eager to use that dagger. Now goes back for 2 points in the Scream. So did have some pretty serious potential there, especially if he had been the one to bottle up the rune. Nice aggressive play from June. Got a little nervous there, though. Thought Shadow Fiend might be able to just pop in with a couple of quick raises. As he is level 5, he does have potential for big damage. So we'll see what Rabbit wants to go for. Newbee have some options here. They can sit back, play a little more defensive, and just try to secure farm on their carries, or they could try to be a little more aggressive themselves and utilize the Chrono teamfight synergy they have once the ultis come online for all their cores and their Ancient Apparition. Looking at who's got better late game here, I think you've got to give it to Newbee just because of the raw control. Morphling, great late game carry, scales just as well as the Shadow Fiend or the Storm. Lina Earthshaker, pretty decent supports headed towards the late game. Not the best, but you still got Ancient Apparition. The key difference, I think, is in the offlaner. Spirit Breaker, he really falls off relative to a hero like Faceless Void, where Chronosphere almost just gets stronger as the game goes on. And the Space Cow, he gets a little bit less intimidating once you get past that mid-game, and his momentum is kind of slowed down. Can still bring a lot of presence, a lot of pressure to that back line to make sure the supports don't have an easy time in team fights, but his ulti won't be nearly as key as that Chronosphere. So if it's a break even in the mid-game and Newbee can just kind of grind their way through it, they should find themselves with a very minor advantage. But wow, HGT, they're already pulling ahead by a fair bit into the 4 figures of a gold lead now, with Storm Spirit top in the net worth charts at about 3,500, 1,000 up on his counterpart in that of the Morphling. Westbrook needs to be a little bit careful here. Moo is level 6. They've got a Telekinesis, and he had a Charge of Darkness, but holds it just a bit too long. And right there, you see why the Rubik is so good against the Spirit Breaker. If he charges out, you can interrupt it with the Telekinesis, or if not, you've just got a long duration disable where he can't get away. That will be the first kill of the game for Moo up on the scoreboard. Queen of Pain now 1-0, and will level things out 1 apiece. Much needed kill there. May help tip the scales in this mid lane. Now we check in up top. June getting wrapped around upon by Kaka. Lane ward has come down. And look at this sneaky devil. He'll just hide in the tree line here. Maybe go AFK, get himself a Red Bull, then come back. And they're going to try to push this tower and look for a kill on the Void. Newbee adjusting pretty well here. They will wrap around. We'll take a look at Dire Vision, see what they can see. And not a hell of a lot right now. Void walks his way over. They do catch vision of him as he moves out of the fog. And they want to try to make a faceless sandwich here. Level 4 Lina does have a stun. 2 points in the Dragon Slave for some extra damage. Storm is level 6, so they could zip in to try and initiate here. There is a point in the Vortex. Only a 1-second stun, but that's all Kaka needs to find his fissure and set up for the LSA. Here we go, long-range dive, Vortex into fissure, LSA, off the mark. June barely lives, pops his salve, but ZSMJ zips forward, pokes him for the kill. He'll just TP home. A close one. Faceless Void almost lives, about 1 hit from HP, and now they may punish Kaka. Songshung is here, Rabbit will actually rotate over, and Rabbit will nibble him down like a carrot, chewing through the core. And they make it a 1-for-1. Slightly better trade for HGT, but in the end, it's pretty even. Both safe lane farmers get a kill on a non-core hero. June, can you even call him a core this game? He's got 6 last hits and 2 deaths. He's got brown boots and a pro man shield. That's it. He's got nothing. Absolutely nothing. Still room to recover, but a very quiet early game here. Moo, invisibility rune on, does have an ultimate. Sonic Wave may come out, hasted up. Needs to be careful how he fights this against air. Will be charged, but it gets canceled straight away. Smoked up supports from HGT on their way over. Pretty Hong, Kaka leading the charge here. Looks like they will rotate on to mid. Moo, he's going to be in some trouble. Can they connect on the LSA? There's your fissure to get things started. It'll be there after the Dragon Slave. One more auto attack. Finds the kill on Moo, and it's pretty high. That secures that one on Ms. Lina Inverse. Nice rotation from HGT. That will make it 3-2 as they punish the mid laner. The high value target as well. 2 supports nearby, but that's the one you want to bring down. Newbee will have a lane rotation here. June takes over farming the safe lane, but Heroes starting to converge. He's only level 4. No Chronosphere. Nether Strike to start it off. Bada boom, bada bing. It's a dead Faceless Void. Another easy one for HGT. Ha ha, pretty ha. Laughing as he gets another one. Crying all the way to the bank as he now has 800 gold stored up. And this Lina could start to transition into a little bit of a core here if this keeps up. Now with June rotating, they wanted to keep him safe in the safe lane so he could find a little bit of farm, and Rabbit farming the off lane now. The leading farmer for Newbee on the Morphling still getting plenty of space. Now supports will rotate up, and when I say support, I mean air. There we go. Zip in. Can they find a kill onto Rabbit? Maxed out waveform will scoot out. He's fine. Now in the bottom lane, Ancient Apparition gets dove behind the tower. June comes in. Time walk forward, but no Chrono. June, this is bold. Totem gets used by Kaka. Now Moo drops the hammer all over Westbrook. Sonic Wave to boot. They'll try and chase down Kaka. A few more right clicks will be enough. Pretty Hall looking for the deny, but can't quite get it. It's a double kill for Moo on the Quap, and that'll be the end of it. They punish the dive onto the Ancient Apparition. Frosty might have been shattered, but they make it a 1-for-2. Pretty Hoss still walks away with his life. 2-0 and 2. Now back to the mid lane. Rabbit and Banana putting some pressure on this tier 1. Limiting space that Eric can farm. Looks like this time Shadow Fiend will go for the mech instead of the Yules. We'll talk about that in just a minute here. But Westbrook TP's into the danger zone. There's your waveform across. Charge onto Moo. Is it all for nothing? Sets up onto Rabbit, but he's morphin' strength. They don't have the burst damage. The Rabbit will live. And Moo continues his spree, now onto a killing spree. Oh my. 4-1 on this Queen of Pain, finding a huge burst of momentum. This Morphling doing a lot this game. He's been this combative kind of rotating core, 1-0 and 2. He did go for the Aquila power treads. He might just want to go into a Yasha. This combative Morphling has certainly been successful for Newbee thus far. June down bottom will get charged, but there is a Chrono. Does he have the fast fingers at the ready? It is daytime still. We'll look at the F2, see his vision, and the charge gets canceled as he moves into fog. Westbrook just using it as that taxi service for now. HGT holding on to their lead. It was nearly a 3,000 gold lead, but it has bounced back to be just about 1,000. They are still finding the better of the farm. ZSMJ, their captain and leader, he's smoked up. They want to kill onto Rabbit. Here we go. Orchid on the field at the 11-minute mark. No surprise that Rabbit got killed there. You don't expect the Orchid quite at that timing. He did rush it on Brown Boots. He also got the first blood. That's his third kill of the game. You expect ZSMJ to be farmed, but hot damn, hot Lanta. I mean, you look at S4 getting a 15-minute Orchid and go, all right, S4 is going to get a lot done with this. ZSMJ with a 12-minute Orchid, he is going to wreak havoc. And a much-needed kill there to slow down this Morphling. Now HGT bouncing right back into the lead they had for themselves moments prior. Air, ZSMJ moving into the Tier 1 tower up top. Smoke rotation from Newbee. Moo coming in. He's got the Sonic Wave on 2, but Mech has already come out for Air. Actually on 3. Pretty Hog gets clipped by it as well. Mech picks him back up. Meanwhile in the mid lane, Kaka on 2, but Chronosphere is there. June looking for a solo kill. No Ancient or why did I say solo kill? There's 2 heroes right there. It's a 2-on-1 and they find the kill. Ancient Apparition gets it, compliments of that Chilling Touch, and that secures his level 6. So actually a pretty big kill there in the mid lane. Only on the Earthshaker. But now Ice Blast will become an option. 6-6. Things still not quite leveled out, but Newbee still finding some progress. A shame they couldn't find any kills in the top lane after that beautiful ulti from Moo. You look at his Orchid timing, he's got the Oblivion Staff. Making okay progress, but you can see on the net worth a fair bit behind that of the Storm Spirit here. And now ZSMJ will go back for his power treads. Quap also going treads first, so that does create a pretty big disparity here with the timings. And this is the big window for the Storm Spirit. We're going to see him just chain gank, look for solo pickoffs anywhere that he can as long as his mana pool can sustain it. No bottle on him right now either. Does he have it on the Courier? No, that's a Ring of Bassi coming out for Air. Banana will be stuck behind the trees here. He will try to smoke to get away. This is a crafty little play. Not sure if this is worth a smoke right here. You're just a Rubik. But he will smoke up and head back to safety. All right, I guess it pays off for now.
Bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
And they're diving. They wanted to kill him here. They knew he was nearby. So that crafty little play works out. Storm Spirit will finish off the Tier 1 tower in the bottom lane, so his personal farm jumping up that much more. Now in the top lane, Rabbit will start to pressure this Tier 1 tower. Cuts to the creep wave. It actually does have a Yasha around the corner, so we'll continue with this build that allows him a lot of options. Great farming potential moving towards the mid game, but also gives him some right-click ability, a little bit of extra movement speed, and can continue to stay involved with these team fights. Ice Blast flying into the Roche pit to make sure HGT aren't up to any trickery. With a Shadow Fiend at level 11, certainly a possibility here. Not your most obvious Roche lineup. They don't have a medallion, at least not yet. Urn coming for Pretty Hall. Westbrook looks like he's going for a Blade Mail of his own. Already has the Urn, but just like that, HGT do actually rotate into the Roche pit. Maybe you saw that Ice Blast fly through, perhaps not. We'll be on cooldown for another 5 seconds. Still plenty of time to scout out this Roche attempt, and Newbee could possibly still rotate. Tier 1 tower standing in the mid. It does get pinged out by Teal. June seems a bit suspicious. And now you'll see the Ice Blast fly through. Radiant Vision, they know what's going on. ZSMJ will get hit by the Ice Blast, and HGT are repelled from the pit. A nice play there. Worth the risk just to venture in and see if they can get anything done. But obviously not going to work out in their favor. Charge to the top lane. Nope, just using that taxi service. Although Westbrook, okay, hands the charge over to the Rubik. That's a cute little steal for the Rubik. You don't really want to be charging into the front lines, but you can sit in the base and use it as a scouting tool. That's kind of the biggest thing. You catch vision someone, you know where they are. You can use it to initiate if someone ventures forward and you get a little bit lucky. 50-50 on the Rubik. Now HGT, they smoke up. They're on the hunt. They move forward aggressively here. Kaka, Pretty Haw, and the Storm Spirit looking for another pickoff. They do have a Laguna Blade to go with their Orchid. A lot of kill potential here. Even the Echo Slam now available. They will venture through the bottom lane, using that flying vision from the Remnant, but unfortunately for the Dire, not going to find anything. Newbee all busy grouped up in the mid lane. Invisibility rune on June. Still just power treads there, but could venture through his jungle and maybe find someone on HGT. They do have a Sentry Ward down. A little bit of bad luck, and this could be disastrous for Newbee. Pretty Hog gets pinged out. The stolen charge from Banana. There we go. No chrono used. June thinking about it, but doesn't overreact. Sets up for an easy kill there for the Rubik. Nicely done. And making good use of that steal. Off cooldown, maybe they can find ZSMJ in the bottom here. I don't think they had vision as he moved into the tree line. June still holding on to his chrono. Could be an easy kill with this Orchid. Not particularly tanky right now, especially when not on strength boots. Kaka in the mid lane. Now he's getting charged up. Rubik charging on in. Telekinesis, and that's a stolen fissure. Easy peasy. He will end up dying, though, so handing over the fissure, less than ideal. Also, ZSMJ the one getting the kill. Not worth it. Good trade there for HGT. So it was Rubik, actually, that killed the Earthshaker. So Banana getting a kind of a double kill out of that. 2-1-3, though, still having a pretty good showing on this Rubik. So it's been pretty quiet in this mid-game here since the lanes have devolved. Newbee kind of on the back foot, getting out farmed. No surprise to see them playing a little bit more passive, and it's working. You look at this gold graph and these pick-offs here and there coming out from both sides, 8-7, pretty tied up. Looks like Newbee is working this map just a little bit more efficiently. Manta Style will be the first big core item coming out for Rabbit, and the farm for that blessed or ultimate orb on the way. Jesus Christ. Orchid also up on the Queen of Pain with Moo finding his level 11, so his kill potential goes up. And this Storm Spirit actually losing a lot of momentum here. We'll see in the top lane. Orchid enough to bring him down. They give him a taste of his own medicine, and Moo will be the one to end that dominating streak. Nice and easy when you set it up with the Ice Blast. And that is the pickoff they needed. Now the momentum has really shifted, and Moo about at the same spot the Storm Spirit is in terms of farm. That is damn scary given how far ahead ZSMJ was for a while. He's lost all this momentum. Can he get it back? Westbrook, he's got the Blade Mail completed, but still not particularly scary. We talked about the disparity being the offlaners and how well they scale, and this is when Spirit Breaker starts to lose some of his footing as well. We'll see him charge in the mid lane, goes right onto June, go for the weak one. Orchid will come out onto him. Sang Shung in a very awkward position will get Laguna bladed. That'll be the end of him. Now they lose the Void. Looks like the strategy from ZSMJ will be successful as he locks down the Void before he can get off the Chronosphere. Compliments of that Orchid. Charge onto the Replicant, nicely baited by the Morphling, and that will get at least one ability on cooldown, if not only for 10 seconds here. Tier 1 tower mid will be under heavy assault. Glyph comes out from Newbee. They were split pushing a little bit, but Rubik will come back to the party. Tower goes down. Uh-oh, here we go. Initiation onto Rabbit. They've got the silence of the Orchid. He's morphing some strength, but it's just not enough. A 1-on-5, and they kill the Morphling. A 3-for-0 and a tower go the way of HGT in the mid. The team fight recap will give us no help, but the gold graph will. And another big fight for the Dire side pushes them back into the lead and gives them a nice little space cushion here in terms of farm. Shadow Fiend now looking towards his BKB, and just as ZSMJ starts to fall behind, he regains some momentum. And we'll pick up a few more kills. 4-1 and 2. Nicely done to isolate the Void there. That's exactly the way you got to do it. Got to jump on June before he can jump on you. Looks like June will do a very similar build to last game. I reckon this will be a Hand of Midas, not a Maelstrom or anything like that, to find some recovery farm, give him that ability to scale towards the late game, as it seems like if Newbee wins this one, it will be towards that late game. No way they're closing this out anytime soon. Even if HGT get hyper-aggressive, start throwing away kills, and have a really bad mid-game, Newbee still won't be winning anytime soon. They don't really have great pushing prowess, and their pushing power will come just from their cores getting farmed and finding successful pickoffs coming up in fights to come. Still a lot of farming their team needs to do. Rabbit still pretty far off his Manta Style. June still pretty far away from his Hand of Midas, all things considered. And Banana, oh, now locked in here. Look at this. Saying, no, no. You will stay here, good sir. You're going to have to TP out. There we go. All right, they let him out of jail. Oh, poor Rubik. It's a tough life. And Ancient Apparition, he's got next to nothing.
Dire's middle tower has been denied.
But Dire, Tier 1 mid, will get denied by the Shadow Fiend. Nothing too big about it. It is an access point towards Roche, so clearing out these Tier 1 and Tier 2 towers in mid and bottom does start to matter for Newbee, but with only one tower down, HGT not sweating it quite yet. Roche is up and available. I don't think he was ever actually taken out here, so HGT will still have that at their disposal. Maybe something they want to try again. Worth it if they can force a reaction. If they can move into Roche, force Newbee to rotate and kind of react to it, but they don't lose anyone, or they can bait a fight out of it. Could be a valuable tool for HGT. It is something that Newbee have been pretty on point with, spamming that Ice Blast in and out of the pit to make sure that they do keep tabs on when Roche is under assault.
Dire's top
Queen of
tower
Pain
is under
probably
attack.
looking for a BKB of her own here. Moo maybe thinking about the Aghanim Scepter, but I think BKB perhaps a bit more likely. Banana actually finding a lot of farm on the Rubik this game. For what the Ancient Apparition is lacking, Rubik is gaining. Smoke now from HGT. They'll try to find a jump on Newbee. Rubik actually ahead of the Faceless Void right now, only by a couple of gold, but impressive to see how well he's farming relative to this offlaner who is definitely struggling this game. 0-4-0, or 0-4-4 rather. Orchid comes out onto Westbrook, but Moo in a lot of trouble. Oh, a decent Chronosphere connects on 3, but it doesn't matter. It sets up for an easy kill on Moo. Storm Spirit will get credit for that kill as the Laguna Blade brings him low, and a dominating streak now ended going the way of the Storm Spirit. Banana set up on by the Fissure. Follow-up LSA is there. A double for ZSMJ. 6-1-2. Wreaking havoc all over my fantasy draft and this game. A great showing from him. And still a ton of momentum.
Top tower is under attack.
Now HGT moving to the tier 1 tower top. It gets glyphed. Ice Blast may connect on quite a few, but where's the follow-up? Oh yeah, it's nowhere to be found.
Radiant's top tower
Need a little
has
more out of
fallen.
those Chronospheres, June. That was one of those Chronos that, yeah, it connected on a lot of heroes, but you got your key damage dealer in the mix. The Queen of Pain was able to get the Orchid out onto the Clockwork. Or it wasn't the Clock. I think I said Clockwork, but it was the Spirit Breaker, the Westbrook hero. Who was able to use his Orchid, but that was about it. I feel like without a Sonic Wave used, it's just a lost fight for Newbee. Unless everything else goes perfectly with like a Chronosphere, Ice Blast on 5, the Sonic Wave is such a key piece of their damage output. And on top of that, even just the auto attacks from Moo, you can't afford to have him caught in the front lines and be that first target. You will see Lena caught out in the mid lane. Rabbit with a double damage rune makes an easy pick off there. And, well, Ice Blast is flying in for good measure. Small pickoffs like that have been keeping Newbee in this game, but the team fights is where they've been continuing to fall short. Part of it is poor initiation by the Faceless Void, and also it's been good initiation from HGT. Newbee are still up 1-0 here, so they do have a little bit of comfortability. They can afford to take a loss and still take this series to move on to the next round. Westbrook charging across. We'll just go for a little Ancient farm for now. He's got his power treads, maybe a BKB on the way out for him. Spirit Breaker still farming pretty nicely, still about 2k up on the Void, who did just get his hand to Midas. So now the farming really begins for June. Moo, Invisibility Rune online. A Sentry Ward will come down, mostly for the ward coverage here. That's an Observer down. It looks like HGT may be thinking a little harder about Roche. Now initiation. That's what I'm talking about. Ulti's on 2. Pretty high. Kaka going to be sent back to the grave here. That should be a shatter, and it is. They'll lose the Rubik off to the side, but the Sonic Wave Chronosphere were there. Nice setup from Newbee. And that is why you do not charge up to a dark high ground. Westbrook will set up onto the Ancient Apparition, though. The long-range Nether Strike will make it easy for ZSMJ to come in and clean up. Double kill for him. It's a 2-for-2. Both sides lose their supports. And ends up being a pretty even trade. Rabbit trying to split push up top. Will be charged by Westbrook, but I feel like Westbrook needs to be a little careful here. They know he doesn't have an ultimate. His charge is now on cooldown. Rabbit will do what little damage he can, sends the replicate away, and may just try to see what kind of a play he can make and then hop back to safety if need be. There will be some supports coming this way. Now the Storm Spirit comes zipping in. Rabbit takes the Orchid. He's not even going to get to use the ulti at this point, but he will. Manta style there to get the Orchid off. Thought they might have the stuns. A lucky bash there, and you don't Manta off that Orchid, and the Soul Burn actually has potential to kill you there. But jumps to the replicate, and Rabbit will survive. Also making some space for his team. Forces back some TPs. Nicely done there. Does prevent HGT from just moving into the Roche pit. I don't think they would have anyhow, but takes that as an option out of the off the table. Takes that option off the table. Christ and crackers. You got to forgive me, folks. It's 4:30 a.m. This is my first night switching to the Chinese schedule. It's always a little bumpy. Always hit some speed bumps here as you get adjusted to the new sleep schedule. So you'll have to bear with me. Apologize. A little tongue-tied tonight. What are you going to do? Going Easter ham all over this game. Kaka, ooh, he's got the Blink Dagger. That's always a big pickup on the Earthshaker, and what a time to reveal it right around the Roche pit here. Newbee have not seen it yet. They smoke into the pit, but HGT, they know it. Taking a look at the dire vision here. They don't have visual confirmation yet. Radiant, they know. This is Radiant vision here. They've got the Gosu ward on the high ground. They're still going to stay in the pit, though. This is so risky. They know what's going on. They don't even have the Faceless Void with them. Newbee, oh my gosh. the dice. It's giving me heart palpitations. They're rolling the dice. Void, we need you. He's got the Chronosphere. Why isn't he here? June. Oh my god, are they going to punish this? He's going to try to snatch the Aegis, but he comes in too late. Rabbit, he's the one to grab the Aegis. Now, how hard did Newbee get punished here? They'll lose Sanshun and the Aegis of the Immortal. Rabbit, bow! He's just dead. Why? I don't understand. I hate to single people out, but if they want to go for Roche, you need your Void, even if he can just jump in and counter-initiate. If you catch the Storm there in a Chronosphere and the Queen of Pain is outside of it, there's kill potential on that Storm. At the very least, you can prevent the snatch from happening. He had the Chronosphere. Oh, boy. HGT, now they're going to get a lot of footing off this. They bring down the Aegis, kill the Morphling again. He does have a buyback. It won't be needed. Ice Blast will repel for now as their Tier 2 tower takes some chip damage. Looks like HGT will just reset. They should be very happy with that fight, though. It was your 10-second BKB on ZSMJ here, but still well worth it. If he had snatched the Aegis, that would have just been a complete disaster. Look at the gold graph here. HGT holding on to their 5K gold and XP lead. Nothing insurmountable, but still holding on by a nice margin here. Shadow Fiend now has his completed BKB to go with the Blink. Also an ultimate or probably the beginnings of a Scotty. We saw a Hex pop out in the last game. Certainly could be an option. I don't know that it's quite as obvious a game for it. Scotty feels a little more safe just to try to survive the Chronosphere, survive the burst damage from the Queen of Pain. That is one great way to deal with these heroes. BKB also up on Moo. June looking at a BKB as his next core item, I reckon, after the Aghanims. Banana picked up a Blink a while ago, but haven't really seen too much out of it. Now the Ghost Scepter for Morphling Rabbit. Going for the shotgun. He's going to try to load him up, pop a couple of shells in there. Always a potent item on the Morphling. And some squishy heroes that he'll be able to punish. Lena in particular. Earthshaker, pretty punishable. Space Cow's pretty tanky. Shadow Fiend's pretty tanky. Uh-oh, June. He's going to Chrono, but it's on nothing. Well, he sort of catches one. ZSMJ, he'll be forced to BKB. Sonic Wave, going to be a whiff. They'll try and chase him down. Now on the other side, Air. Channels the Requiem. June just trying to scoot away. ZSMJ will survive, and now Moo. He'll be the one on the back foot. He'll live for now. On the other side, Earthshaker gets left behind. Rabbit finds the kill there. What an awkward fight. A couple of key ultis missed. And now it'll be HGT just on the run, and it looks like they will get out pretty much scot-free. Okay, so all things considered, that worked out for Newbee. It's just a 1-0. Very strange, though. Would have been a lot easier if that Sonic Wave had finished off the Storm. It was a noble effort. They forced out the 9-second BKB, so that is a victory there. Pretty Haw, his gem is still in the inventory of the Storm. I think he was carrying it that whole time, so it would have been a really big kill, actually. Newbee will press into the Tier 1 tower bottom. They get it into deny range here, but boy, oh boy, HGT, they're ready to react. They have the ward vision on the high ground, so they see the TPs coming in. Shadow Fiend will deny the tower, but like I said before, just limiting these access points to Roche. They've still got this big boy right here and this one over here as well. But Roche obviously high on the priority list for Newbee as they risked it for the biscuit in that last attempt. Well, things still holding pretty steady here. This is a very awkward game. Both teams without a huge lead, just trying to find any edge they can. HGT, they've got that small lead that they want to capitalize on here. They'll continue fighting, now grouping up as a 5-man death ball. I think this is the right play here, but they smoke up next to a Radiant Observer. Oh, man, at least they know it. ZSMJ does have the gem, so he will kill the ward, and his team just spreads out and says, well, that was a waste of a smoke, guys. Noble effort, but not happening this go-around. What a weird place to smoke. Of all the spots, I mean, why wouldn't you just smoke in the trees here, move over to one of these spots? Where, like, this is a very common warding area, and they just walked right into it with a gem. Unfortunate for sure, but Newbee will get off lucky on this one. Rabbit was farming out double stack here. Morphling's farm is still pretty good. But, whoa, Echo Slam on the two biggins. Now ZSMJ comes jumping in. They'll bring down the Queen of Pain. But huge Chrono from June. Finally, the Chronosphere they've been waiting for. Storm Spirit and Kaka in the grave. June will pay with his life as Air starts to wrap around for the high ground. But Banana's still here. He's got a Stolen Fissure. Maybe, just maybe, they can find another kill. Morphling still alive also, but they just want to secure the Ancients. A 2-for-2. Both teams lose a core and kind of a support. Void, he's technically a core, but I want to put him in the category of a support. Very even trade. I guess Newbee do get the slight edge given that they keep their Ancient stack safe, and the Morphling does get to clear that out. And they also get the Ancients to stack again, so they will have that at their disposal. Nice Chronosphere from June, though. That's exactly what you want. Catches HGT. I think it caught at least 3 or 4. Sets up for some kills. Good turnaround there. Scotty on the way for Air. There it is. There's your big item pickup. And now this Shadow Fiend, quite beefy. Always a good item to have against the shotgun. Also BKB on the way for the Spirit Breaker. Lena looking for a Yules. Closing into it, but still needs that a little bit of extra money for the recipe. I like the attempt from HGT, though. Kaka hops in with a big Echo Slam to start things off. I feel like you got to catch out that Void. Once June gets a BKB, plays like that will become a lot more difficult. This Hand of Midas will inevitably find him some farm. SB still out farming him for now by about 1,000 net worth. June closing the gap. And just moves into this hard camp, and we'll start to move around the jungle. Oh, he's a lot closer to that BKB than I thought. He has the Mithril Hammer now. That's a huge item for Newbee. Another rotation from HGT. Got to keep this caffeine flowing. E-Blade up on Rabbit. So now solo pickoff potential is there. Who is actually in kill potential? I think Lena is the obvious target. Pretty hard. If there's any time he's remotely far forward, expect that E-Blade shotgun to follow. ZSMJ is actually could fall victim as well. He does have the BKB, so that is your way to reset. But we'll hold that thought as here we go. Initiation on to June. ZSMJ drops the Rubik straight away with his BKB on. Ancient Apparition will suffer a similar fate. Oh boy. They lose their Lena, but it's a 3-for-0. They get the Void to boot. An explosive pick from HGT, but a huge skirmish there and another 1,800 net worth trade as they send Newbee into the negatives and grab a gain for themselves. These wards just paying for themselves so much, giving so much intel into where Newbee are farming, and just make jumps like that possible. You tell Newbee not ready for it as they're all spread around the map, continuing to farm. Morphling nowhere to be found. Now the tier 2 tower in the mid lane will be under some pressure. They glyph it out here. Void, no buyback in the grave for 15 seconds. We'll be hoping that HGT don't make a play towards high ground in the next 6 minutes while that glyph is on cooldown. 5 minutes rather. It will end up being an uncontested tower. Shadow Fiend gets the last hit and clears out the Ancients on his retreat. Despite a death there, Faceless Void still gets his BKB. Looks like Moo working on an Assault Cuirass, realizing that he'll have to double as kind of a hard carry this game if they do want to find a win. Curious what Rabbit's going for next with that 2,700 gold. I think Scotty, a pretty likely choice at this stage. He may want to go BKB also. Pretty good BKB game. Still plenty that'll go through it. Your Laguna Blade, well, that's never really getting upgraded, so don't have to worry about that so much. You've got your Nether Strike, but still a good BKB game for the Morphling. So probably both BKB and Scotty will come out at some point. The order, though, kind of to each his own. I guess it depends on what Rabbit sees himself doing from the next few minutes, and it looks like it will be fighting. There's your BKB recipe picked up, and now he is just about an Ogre Club away. The rest of Newbee smoke up alongside a Replicate, so there will be a way for Morphling to get into this fight while he continues farming. HGT all grouped up around the Roche pit. Roche up in about 45 seconds here. He hasn't spawned yet, but both teams posturing to find an edge in this section of the map. Dire side, some of their wards going down, but they will put another one down. This kind of odd spot next to the tree line here. June catches ZSMJ with an ulti, Sonic Wave, and the Ice Blast to follow up. They'll pick off the Storm to get it started, but Air pops an ulti with big damage. He brings down both supports on the side of Newbee. They're going to need a lot more than this if they want to make it an even fight. Moo trying to chase down Pretty Haw on the backside, should be able to find this kill, and yes, he will. Scream of Pain to finish it off. Now on the other side, Echo Slam onto Rabbit. They'll charge him, they'll chase him down, and they'll get the kill. Faceless Void punished also. Air with a triple kill on this Shadow Fiend, 6-0 and 6. Going Easter ham all over the side of Newbee to secure a 2 for 3 trade, I think. 2 for 4 rather. Oh my, mama me. 1,900 net worth gained by HGT, a fair bit lost by Newbee. They clear out the tier 2 bottom. There's no glyph, and the Dire know it. They don't even need Roche. Instead, they go high ground. This is part of the reason you don't glyph tier 2 towers when you don't want to make a hold. Not a glyph you use willy-nilly. You don't get the reset, and now their high ground is under siege. Even if the Void was up, they don't have a Chronosphere for next to a minute here. It's a dead tier 3 tower. Air gets credit for the kill, and Newbee will come in to make the defense. Here we go. Moo without an ultimate, only so much damage he can put out. They will try to defend the barracks, but Air stands his ground. BKB still available at that 6-second charge. Good damage onto the barracks, but they will start to back out. Moo still 50 seconds till his ultimate is here. Song Shen could be in some trouble, but Air, BKBs, no Requiem available. Fissure to break things up, secures the kill onto Rubik. Now Westbrook has his ulti ready. It does get canceled, or he cancels it himself. And will not, I think he cancels it himself, doesn't want to dive into the base. BKB forced to be used by Moo, an 8-second BKB charge there, just to be able to right-click against the Blade Mail of the Spirit Breaker. HGT still grouped up. They still want to try to make this happen, but as these ultis cool down, this gets a lot more difficult. A Chronosphere, Ice Blast, Sonic Wave could wipe their team if they're not careful. For HGT, this requires a lot of finesse. They've been executing very well thus far, but need to continue to do so. This is not a time to get sloppy. All right, they group up as 5. Roshan is respawned. A Blueberry ready and waiting for him. They'll put the bottle on the ground and hand the double damage over to Air. What luckers here on the side of HGT. The double damage rune makes this so much easier. Ice Blast will come in, connects on 3 heroes. It has officially been scouted out by Newbee. You look at the Dire Vision, though. They know exactly where they are. They see him trying to take out this Observer on the high ground, and they get an uncontested Roche. Aegis goes to the Storm Spirit. He's got BKB, Orchid, and that first ultimate orb towards probably a Linken's, but could also be a Scotty if he feels like he needs some carry power himself. Things still looking good for HGT, and you look at this gold graph all of a sudden erupting with a ferocious bout of momentum. 10,000 gold, nearly 12,000 net worth, their lead into the 5 figures, and they're just going to head down to the bottom lane again. Charge onto Rabbit. He's got his BKB now, but caught by the Vortex. Orchid's there. It's a dead Rabbit. Banana on the run now, but he may get left behind. He's already blinked back once. Glyph has cooled down. They've got some ultis here. They'll have to use them properly. No buyback available on the Morphling. He just went all in on that BKB. Now your Chronosphere on ZSMJ, but remember, he's got the Aegis. He lives through it. Maybe they can force out a shatter. They will. June gets low, makes it back to the well. Ooh, just barely. Both Radiant supports in the grave without buybacks, and it looks like HGT could be taking game number 2 to move us into an ace match. Air on an absolute tirade this game, 8-0 and 4, having a perfect showing as they move into the mid. Tier 3 tower under heavy assault. There is a glyph, but without a chrono, and with 3 dead and no buyback, it all seems grim here for Newbee. Mid lane will get split by Moo, but what little he's doing doesn't seem to make a difference. Void, come on, June, 0, 7, and 8. You're holding back my draft, man. Mid lane of Barracks will get cleared out. Things coming up, all HGT. Now Moo gets charged towards the mid lane. Does have his Assault Kuros up. Will blink to the high ground, and TP's home. Just barely makes it, but he will. Wah, wah, wah. This tier 3 tower, tier 2 tower up top, keeping the Newbee base safe for now. But all of a sudden, Shadow Fiend is just absolutely massive. This game was pretty even for a while, but Newbee just got a little too comfortable, gave HGT just a little too much breathing room. And now full Butterfly, Eye of Scotty, and another 4,500 gold is up on Air. 350 last hits on this guy. Now you've got a Blink Dagger on Lena, and oh, Papa! That's a negative Scepter on the Spirit Breaker. he will certainly be breaking spirits with this one. A big, big luxury item there. Not one you get to see too often. Takes the bash radius up to 250, so now you've got some AoE damage. The 20-second cooldown and the huge range. Now the Spirit Breaker can charge in, kind of just back up and still reinitiate from afar. Really a strong item here. Could see another fight break out. June holding his ultimate, stutters a little bit, but opens up for the Hex from ZSMJ. He BKBs, pops the ulti, does catch air. Could this be the end of his domination streak? Mood drops the ulti as well, but air! He's alive! He turns it around, a double kill as godlike streak continues. Now the rest of Newbee dropping like flies. Rabbit will be the only one left alive. They do end up losing their Shadow Fiend after all. It's the Ancient Apparition that ends the streak of all heroes, but it just doesn't matter. GG is called after that disastrous fight. A 1-for-5 HGT taking game number 2. We're moving into an ace match, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Game 3 on the horizon. Very impressive showing from the Dire side. I have to say, I don't want to flame him too hard, but they need to find a new hero for June. It seems like Faceless Void and June are not speaking the same language. I don't know if it's a Mandarin versus Cantonese kind of thing here, but it's not working out. 0, 8, and 9. Raw death count alone is not even what we're talking about here. We're talking whiffed chronos, awkward positioning. They need someone else to kind of be their initiator. Good game from Moo on the Queen of Pain, 7, 4, and 5. A pretty good showing there, but ZSMJ 14, 3, and 8. And of course, Air only finding his first death in that last skirmish there. Their core is just getting a lot and makes things interesting, hot and spicy here coming into game number 3. This is the opening round here for phase 2 of the China portion of the Summit 3. So no elimination today. Whoever loses here will have the opportunity to fight through that lower bracket, but certainly not how you want to get things started. With that said, folks, stick around because we've got a lot more Dota 2 coming your way this morning. Happy Easter. Thank you for joining us here for I almost said Star Ladder Summit 3 China to celebrate. We'll be back with Game 3 coming up next.
I was actually one of the first people to sign up on Vulcan to get a chance to not only win money, but do